I want to welcome you to the Lighthouse for an IP meditation. It's been a little minute, so double welcome. And it is our first meditation session in the season of spring. And that means that we have like a whole new cascade of things to consider and to contemplate and to hold space for in the inner workings of the design of who we are actively engaged with becoming. And as practitioners, we need to figure out a way to factor rest into our lives so that we aren't procrastinating as a way of stealing rest. Have you ever thought about that? There are no prerequisites in life for rest. You don't have to have been sick. You don't have to have been hauling ass for 7 years. You don't need permission. You don't have to have done anything to deserve the experience of resting. Resting is, it's a natural human right for all of us. And practice is this magnificent, multi-faced mirror that gives us that restoration. It allows us the context to deeply rest, which you're gonna tap into here in a few minutes. And it's also a remedy and a roadmap for when we're feeling lost and for making sense out of that which seems senseless. And it's nourishment on all kinds of levels. So the practice, all the various faces of integrative practices, help us to generate the inner resources so that we can be responsible for our own vitality, so that we can have our hands on the reins of our own wellness, and so that we can actively build a life of thriving that we feel completely resonant with. So I want to ask you, how often are you prone to feeling paralyzed in the purgatory of your own procrastination? Knee deep in the dishes and in snot, in the feathers, in the fog, in the blood, and in the cravings, and on and on and on, right? When we find ourselves in that kind of lockdown set of thought forms, we start to run everything through a traumatic perceptual grid that is an old habit. And spring is beckoning to us in a way that says, redefine those kinds of old grids so that we no longer find ourselves in a deficiency of true joy, in a deficiency of true fulfillment. So creation, emanation, evolution, these are all cosmic laws, but these are also human laws. So as we cut and paste that realization into the inner work of practice, we realize that no matter what we want, no matter what we have, no matter what we're doing, we have to begin before we can finish the thing and possess the fruition. We have to do the damn thing. We have to start anywhere, right? And it's worth recognizing that our resistance or our discomfort is the greatest just prior to the breakthrough. Does that have a landing place for you in the way that you engage with the busyness of a postmodern, trans-apocalyptic lifestyle? Perfectionism, in all of its various forms, is another form of, another face of procrastination. Perfectionism and procrastination are old pals that are often running neck and neck. And they stop us and they suspend us in the stall of what ifs. What if I start something and I fail? Or what if I start something and I succeed and then I have to change massively and magnificently in ways that I'm frightened about? All of the what ifs. So as practitioners, we can say no, and as practitioners, we can also simultaneously say welcome to all of those mixed feels that we have about the what ifs and about the small beginnings. We can do the thing even before we're ready. We can do the thing before all of the logistics are lined up. We can do the thing before we feel like it's ready to be perfect. We can take the leap of faith and trust that the net is probably going to follow, because the 1.0 version of whatever it is that is scratching at the back door, wanting to come through you this season, the 1.0 version is never going to be perfect, right? And as spring is belting out to us, which she is in full power, she's asking us to push through the mud, to push through the mud, and to recognize that our biggest hurdle is that business of just starting. Even the most immaculate bloom has a dirty beginning. Think about it. And the evidence of small beginnings are everywhere in all of the big magic of the world. It's in an oak tree, it's in a fallen leaf, it's in new grass, it's in healing herbs, it's in the scent of skin, it's in the rain, it's in the dust, it's in the moon, it's absolutely everywhere. Evidence of small beginnings is in the big magic of everything, and it's also in the magnificent majesty that is inside of each one of us. So just starting, this is a mantra for us for this season. Start anywhere. Just starting pulls us out of the obsession of tomorrow, the I'm going to do it trap. Does that ring a bell? Have a landing place? The I want to, I will, I'm going to obsession with tomorrow trap. And it positions us in a much more sophisticated and actionable trajectory of I am consciousness. I am doing, I am creating, I am generating, I am innovating, I am elevating, whatever, right? Fill in the 10,000 blanks. The I am consciousness. And this, friends, is the IP state of mind. So when life is so busy and it's multi-layered, and life gets in the way of practice, we make our life, the whole of our life, our practice. And when we are in our own way, we have wherewithal enough to get out of our own way so that we can step aside and yield to the growth that is courting us all the time. And so to remember that how we do one thing is how we do everything. So how are you doing this one moment? How is it that you are doing you? And so I'm gonna close up this initiatory chat with a few words from Anna Yasmin, who I love. She is an incredible idea generator, poet, and woman. And she said that, the day came when the risk to remain tight in a bud was more painful than the risk it took to bloom. The day came when the risk to remain closed tight in a bud was more painful than the risk that it took to bloom. So what is it that wants to bloom inside of you and around you and can only come through you in this season? And in this case, in this moment. And let's all start with catching a breath together. That kind of breath that aligns you with the you within you. Catch another breath. And then exhale out of an open mouth. So we'll use our spring mantra of just start anywhere, and we'll begin the practices that I've put together for us for today's session. This is some really simple work here at the beginning, but it's very old, and the efficacy runs super deep through all of the systems and the intercommunication of the systems. This is an old Taoist practice called spinal cord breathing. So this is going to really open up your axis, the part of your anatomy that is your beam, into the future that you're creating. Okay? So just take this first moment to to feel your spine, and I want to remind you to not just put your toenail into the practice. Swim out from the shallows, go into the depths so that you can discover some part of who you are that you weren't necessarily aligned with earlier this morning or tonight or whenever you may be tuning in for the replay. Okay, so spinal cord breathing. You're going to collapse and thereby rinse out your lung meridian. I'm going to alternate in terms of which elbow is stacked on top. So I'm going to collapse through the whole beam of the spine. I'm tucking my nose in towards my heart, and my heart is moving in towards my diaphragm. And I'm bringing opposite hand to kidney. Even if you can only just barely graze the kidney region with the tips of the fingers, do that. Okay, so you're going to collapse, exhale, and then inhale. You're going to really climb up and then open. And then exhale again, alternate. So you kind of want to swim through, dive through. Like I said, swim out from the shallows. Go into the deep water of your own inquiry and investigation. So collapse through the spine and then inhale. Oxygenate, reorganize, elevate, elongate, extend. Hang the head back, release the shoulders down, and stretch through all the subtle connective tissues of the neck. Exhale, collapse, dive through it, weaving in. And in doing this, so if you're new to this session, realize that I oftentimes will stop once I've given you a practice. I want you to stay in this spinal cord breathing, collapsing and opening. And as you open, pull as much rejuvenative breath into your body as you can. Remember, you don't have to do anything to earn the right to rest, and practice is a most profound context for resting and reorganizing and resetting so that you are the CEO of your own vibrancy. Collapse, find the body inside your body. Notice that I'm exhaling out of an open mouth. The exhale is audible, it's medicinal, it's powerful. You can't argue with the potency of that kind of breathing. And pace yourself, take your time, because it is a tragedy to rush through practice. Pace yourself and take your time as you're breathing. Breathing, it's the most natural thing in the world. It is the most natural, and it's the fertile union of ebb and flow. So staying in this, a few more cycles. As if each cycle of the gesture, the insignia of this form right here, and the dissolution of this form, as if each cycle of the gesture and breath was the completion of the whole practice itself. Take two more. So as you're doing this, you're flexing the muscle of your intuition, that the muscle of intuition that is inside of the habitual doubts. It's mental fitness. This stuff is like it's like getting a gym membership for your mind. So you're creating space so that you can trust yourself more, so you can crowdsource for validation less, so you can be quick to decide and patient to revise. There is always time to iterate. There's always time to improve. Let this be the last one if you haven't already done the last one, and then just allow yourself to sit and metabolize. So when I give you these short form practices, recognize that you could do this spinal cord breathing for 15 minutes, you could do it for 30 minutes, you could do it for 60 minutes, and with each elongated succession, you're going to go that much deeper into the reorganization of your energetics and of the lucidity and clarity of your perceptions. It's about allowing the fullness of your complexity to pour forth, paving the way to wholeness, paving your way into your wholeness with speed and with luminosity and with a brilliance that inhibits all of the things that have been holding us back forevermore. And remember that where your attention goes, that's where your energy flows. So take this moment to tune in to, where is it that my attention is right now? Attention, it's the commodity of the 21st century. Everything is vying for our attention all over the place. Put your hands on your knees, please, and then I want you to make the Mobius strip. It's like an infinity sign, and you're going to do it. Your point of origin is at your heart's center, okay? And in doing this, you're stretching out all of the musculature on the side body, which is oftentimes an area of the body that doesn't get a lot of addressing. You're collapsing and rearranging the area, the vicinity in your body where your lungs live. You're climbing into the chrysalis. You're allowing for the imaginal cells to take hold and to take over of all the substantive, structural ways that you have been busy being you, so that you can actually flip the myth, so that you can author the life that you're calling in and consciously creating for yourself in this season. Go the other way. Last one. Beautiful. So, sitting up nice and alive and connected and present. So we're going to create the wisdom mudra. So this is so classical, and it's perhaps one of the most famous. And anytime we do these mudras, the different crossroads that you're activating in your body energetically and in terms of your electricity has an immediate effect on your neurology. So this is when you create this Gyan mudra, which is the wisdom mudra, you are toggling out of the doubt grid and into the I am consciousness and into the intuitional, instinctual grid. And I always think that shift is like so worth our time. It's so worth our attention, right? Because it informs every progressive action and attitude that follows. So you're going to create Gyan Mudra, and you're going to hover it kind of alongside your cheeks. So we've got this is the whole insignia. It's the whole design that you're creating here. And then you're going to create an O shape with your mouth. We do this commonly in IP. And you're going to take 3 breaths, 1 for body, 1 for mind, and 1 for the essence self, okay? So you're stacking the inhalations, one on top of the other. So I'm going to demonstrate. So notice that I held the breath at the end of the 3rd inhalation, and I set the gaze at the tip of the nose, which is creating a really useful pressurization in the glandular system, in the master gland, and the center of the brain. So let's do this. We're gonna mingle in this for the next couple of minutes. So inhale, inhale, inhale. Make sure you're at maximum capacity by the time you hit that 3rd inhalation. So if that means the 3rd inhale is a little longer than the 2 prior, make that happen for yourself. You do you, right? Make sure you're going as deep as you can. Swim out from the shallows. Exhale through the nose. Inhale. Hold the breath, looking at the tip of the nose. The eyes are 9/10 of the way closed. Hold the breath, hold the breath, hold the breath. Let it disrupt the inertia. Let it help you to gallop through entropy. Exhale through the nose. Pause. Inhale, 1, 2, 3. breath. Pull the abdomen a little bit in towards the spine and up towards the diaphragm and the bottom of the heart. Exhale through the nostrils. Inhale. And then exhale, staying in this. Move at your own pace. Make it yours. Like I keep saying, you do you. And we work virtually like this. I can't see you. I don't know what you're up to. But make sure that you're in the deep end. Make every stroke of breath count, and thereby develop your capacity to be even more efficient in all the other things that you're responsible for. This work is an incredible form of crisis care when we find that we're falling out of our own pocket a little bit or all the way. This kind of work pulls us back into our center. And it's also one of the finest expressions of just regular nervous system management and self-care. Again, you don't need permission, and you don't need an excuse, and you don't need to have been hauling ass for 7 years in order to participate in meditative self-care processes. Use every sentiment of unfulfilled selfhood and every disappointment as your appointment with your own destiny codes, so that you can bring your hopes and your visions to the front line. You can give them legs and you can put them to the test. A few more breaths. And feel how this form that you're creating is an auspicious insignia of unfolding evolution. You are the embodiment and the expression and the emanation of this. Take one more cycle through. Good, and then break the practice, moving right along. We're going to weave up our fingers, with the exception of the index fingers. They'll be conjoined and extended high north. We're going to cross the thumbs. It doesn't matter, just fall, let the thumbs fall instinctually, stacking them like so. Reach the arms up, and then pull the arms back behind the ears. Tuck your low ribs in towards the ball of the belly, and lift the top of your pelvic bone up and back slightly towards the bottom ribs. Tuck the bottom of the chin in towards the pit of the throat, which is going to elongate and extend your spinal column. So on the exhalation, you're going to breathe through the nose, and you're going to pull the abdominal wall back, in, and up towards the roof of the mouth. Okay, so just watch. I'm going to demonstrate for a few breath cycles, and then we'll do this Kriya together. I don't know if on screen, I'm trying to perceive on the little thumbnail, if you can actually see my abdominal wall moving, but every time I exhale, I'm really pulling the abdominal wall back so that it's massaging all of the hard-working organs that are responsible for the integrity of my life force. I'm massaging them with each cycle of breath. So exhale, the abs pull back, and inhale, the belly softens into a merciful belly that can hold all of the ambiguity and all of the immensity and all of the beauty too. Everything, holding everything in the merciful ball of your own human belly. So let's do this thing. Still looking at the tip of the nose like we were in the last practice. And I hope you can hang on for a few minutes. I know we're close to time, but hang on if you can. And again, to repeat myself, stay in it until I cue you to stop, even when I stop and talk to you, and use your breath as a constant source of sustenance, because it is that for you. Delving for insight with each cycle of inhale becoming exhale, and and let your breathing body establish for you a foundation of relationship with your own network, a foundation of relationship with your own network of stabilization in the way in which you're connected. Feel the immaculate design of this shape that you're making with your body and the robust stability that is moving through all of the back roads and the super highways of your organism. The immaculate design. Hold nothing back. Go as deep as you can into the breathing. 3 more. Good. And then bring the practice to a close. Relax your hands into your lap. And just savor that feeling of when the Kriya really works, right? And that last Kriya is such a classic, and it's so efficient in its ability to move us from any kind of claustrophobia into a much more vast and wide open field. I'd love for you to return to this tracing, the inner drawing of this design of the Mobius strip of the infinity symbol, going first in whatever direction feels the easiest. Stay in it and recognize that every moment is either going to be a distraction or an inspiration, and it's your dedication that leads the way. What is it that you're most dedicated to in your life right now? Keep doing you on this path. You do you, because there's never going to be a confirmation number in the processes of awakening. You're never going to get that. So we have to hold ourselves accountable to become the auteur of improbable victory in as many coordinates of our lives as we possibly can. And everything is possible even if it hasn't already happened. Like the flying fish, which seems impossible, right? Everything is possible, even if it hasn't happened already. So how can you use the potency and the clarity of your own presence and the annihilation of procrastination that has happened through these few meditation sets this morning? How can you use it to take one flying leap of faith after another? You know, the journey of the flying fish doesn't happen in one big swoop, right? It's a series of small actions, and each flying fish leap of faith is it is the launching pad for the next one. And bring the tracing to a close, and allow yourself to sit and to digest and to just be. The beauty of just being, the beauty of not rushing, of not being called into the next sequence of things. Hopefully in this gathering today, you've befriended the you within you a little bit more. The you within you. Hopefully you have remembered what it is that you've come here to live and to give a little bit more. This you within you. The you within you. This is the good friend that we're always seeking to align with in our practice. And having a relationship with the good friend that is within us is not just a fruit of the good life. It is the whole of the whole life. It is the whole of a life wholly lived, in every sense of the word. so that you can, through that alignment, allow your innate genius and allow your original medicine to emerge. You know, what it is that only you can give voice to, what it is that your heart is bearing to blossom. The command of that. So as we move, you know, just a couple of weeks ago, we shifted through the equinox, right? So here we are in this trajectory of equinox to equinox. So what is it, what wisdom is it that you are holding up? Allow yourself to reflect regularly, to assess, to project, to visualize, to plan, so that you can stay connected every day with what it is that lights you up, so that you can stay connected with what it is that you really care about, so that you can be taking action steps every day toward what it is that you want to have achieved in the next 6 months. And what can you do today? What can you do today to help make sure that that happens? So in closing here, just let yourself rest. Let yourself rest in this moment. This is where we started, with this notion, with this need for restfulness. Let yourself rest, like silk that is breathing in a breeze, filled and fueled and focused, quiet and connected and still. Stillness is what allows us to experience loving awareness. Stillness is the inroad to loving awareness, and movement is what creates life. So to be still and to still be moving in our lives, this is everything. So feel the stillness. And recognize it's always there, no matter the matter. It's always there for you. Thank you so much for being here, for taking time to do this work, for being part of this community. I'll see you soon. Sat Nam and Namaste.